Pleasant good afternoon. Poor people governor with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. I'm responsible for what I say, not what you interpret. Today we have the honor of having in studio with us the Honorable Nima Flue-Bess, Minister, Shadow Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports. MP, welcome.
Afternoon to you and your viewers. It's a privilege to be here with you on this blessed Friday afternoon.
Sparkling. I like your colors. You have a pretty smile on your face too. This afternoon we're gonna rock and roll. There's a number of issues and MP. I know you're hardworking. You're always on the ground, and there's so many stuff that is happening. Yesterday I witnessed a video that you were doing live in I think it was Peters Hall,
Yeah.
where so many senior citizens they saw their livelihood. You use a pretty word. I want to say breakdown. You know, instead of the pretty word that you use, they literally break the homes of whether they were compensated or not. It was done in such a horrible manner, as I like to say. MP, can you walk us through what happened at Peters Hall yesterday?
Yes, I was at Peters Hall yesterday morning. I got a call from residents, as you know, from the time the government said that they were going to have to remove 15 homes from Peters Hall. I've been in contact and engaging and visiting with those families. So I'm well up to date with what is happening on the ground. I know that there are some of them that were taken to court by the government because the compensation offered by the government's evaluators was not fair. And I can tell you it wasn't fair from just visiting the area. You imagine having a home, a two-story building, concrete structure, your yard well planted with fruit trees like stirapple, sapodillo, soursop, all those fruits you can think of. And also to have your cash crops, be it say, callaloo, your little pepper, celery, and all these things. That is what you will find in most of these senior citizen yard space. And so for the government to decide that, we're going to put the bridge there and not even give care, thought, or consideration for the value seniors place on things that they own. You know, growing up in an area all your life as a child, growing up with your siblings, starting your family, and doing it right there, the impact it can have on a person if you suddenly tell them that they have to remove without putting proper systems in place. That is what the senior citizens and those residents of Peters Hall would have faced. Some of them would have gone because, they really don't have much. But those persons who have value on the land, just like the people in Caneview, value, those people who live on the land, it is difficult for you to just get up and move like that. And you have no idea where you're going. Surprisingly, yesterday, while those residents are there, they know that they have an ongoing matter in court. Some of them were given an award, which you will hear a bit later from themselves, that the minister turned up with its team, cut off people light, cut off people water, and start grading and move and breaking down stuff and telling those who present that they too will get their homes destroyed. So you could imagine the psychological trauma and the stress they would have placed on those seniors. I can tell you there's a particular senior there, Mr. Class. I have looked at this man move from being a slim, fit big man to being a feeble, very thin individual within the last 2 years. And it is troubling the manner in which the government operates as though they don't even care if people have their cultural association to where they live. They don't care about the psychological impact of what they're doing to the seniors. They do not give any care. They do not give any care for persons who might have underlying conditions, be it diabetes, be it hypertension, and all these things. These are conditions many of our seniors are experiencing. That's a fact. And to boot, these seniors are over 70. 70 years of age, and they have lived all their lives at this particular location. Now, you have not completed the process of ensuring that these people are well compensated, properly removed from where they are. Yesterday, when I listened to those seniors, imagine I have to move from my home that I'm living in over 70 years to go and rent a house for 6 months. And the government had 2 years and more and couldn't come up with a proper and fair compensation for those residents to have them relocated in a timely manner and in a safe and comfortable space. What will happen in 6 months? Can they really say that in 6 months that they will actually have a new area to call my home and move out? If it took 2 years on the government and counting, 2 years and counting, they cannot come up with adequate compensation for these people. They have not put things in place to say exactly where these people will locate. You imagine at 70 and over, 75, I have to go and find a carpenter to build a house. I mean, that is totally unfair. Totally unfair. And the actions of the government, it speaks volume to the uncaring nature of this PPPC administration. I look at some of the comments made by some of their supporters. It tells me that these people don't even think. Because if you cannot see the impact, the psychological impact that your actions will have on the seniors at this stage, something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong. And I call on the nation, we have to stand up against this kind of practice where apparently the only way of getting people to remove is by bullying them. And there's this barefaced bully. They're practicing bullyism at a national level by sending a grader to grade down the homes of those seniors. It really hurt me yesterday to once again witness such barbaric and wicked actions by the administration. Because I know, and you know, senior citizens place value on things. If you walk into a senior home, they will tell you, no, this wall, when I got this child, I did this. When I got my first salary, I bought this. So they have value. I am not seeing any care, any thought from the actions of the government to ensure that, you know, these seniors are able to salvage things that they have great sense of value from their buildings in their homes to take with them. But rather, we want to grade down everything. Unacceptable. Totally unacceptable.
Unacceptable indeed. MP, compensation. Were they compensated? I mean, there's no compensation for fruit trees. How can you replace a bearing tree? And you know, what kind of compensation was given to those senior citizens?
Well, so they look at monetary. They look at it from the monetary position. They value the property. They claim they have valued the trees and all that is there. But like you said, there is no value you could actually put on a bearing fruit tree. There's no value you can actually put on the produce these people have been reaping from their yard. For example, I know that Mr. Class, Ms. Vashti, and all these others would normally go into the yard every day and pick, be it their seasoning. If they feel like eating some callaloo today, they got little callaloo to cut. If they feel like eating some fresh okra from the tree, they can actually go in the yard and cut the okra and prepare the meal. You talk about fruits. I can tell you, I used to look forward to visiting Petersall for the fruits that you would get from the tree. You guarantee you're going to get a sapodillo. You could guarantee one soursop in season. You could get a soursop. Stir apple. You know stir apple, how you get it in a nice juicy. You guarantee of getting fresh fruits when you visit that area. And to sit to see all of that, all of those bearing fruit trees, crushed and mashed to nothing, I don't believe there's adequate compensation for that. I'm upset at the fact that the government and even all the social ministry and all these people that they have, if you have to destroy these people home, remove them out of the area, ensure they're settled, and then send in your machine and do whatever you have to do. Why would you want to destroy these people's livelihood, the things that they've known all their lives, and have them witness that? Why would you want to do that? You know, the pain, the trauma that those people will go through, the many nights of horror, to think that all their years of hard work and sacrifice is under a grader, is being bulldozed. I believe that is totally uncaring. I don't know if they don't have psychologists, if they don't have workers, healthcare workers who can advise them. That is not something good they're doing. You're dealing with senior citizens. You're dealing with people who would have lived and sacrificed on that particular area, and you're traumatizing them from doing that. Even though they agreed to move, let the people remove. As Ms. Vashi said, all they're asking for time. You gave me money on the 28th of October and want me to move up by the 5th of November. It can't happen.
Indeed, it can happen. So there's no compensation that can cover the damage that was done to the seniors. As well, I would assume there's no medical assistance that um, that can assist them with the drama that they're going through. MP, recently you did a live, and I noticed Cheryl Duncan. We have extracted a video from Cheryl Duncan, and I will ask if we can play that video so our viewers could get an understanding of what really is going on, and they can hear from the source themselves. If we can get that video, and then we'll come back with our.
We know from ever long we've been very advantaged, and like what's failing me right now to tell you what the government is doing with you. The government that say that he loves people, that he loves the citizen, and that is one Guyana. It's a caring Guyana. Caring government and care for everybody.
Miss
I
Flue-Bess, let's start at where this relocation, the compulsory acquisition of these lands are concerned, and let's talk about your property in particular. Where are you on that with the government?
Well, we were in the court since I think it's either May or June. We were in court, and then the government lawyer, called for settlement, which I agree because I'm being stressed out here. It's not favorable, but I accept just to move on. But there's a lot of injustice still is going on because they make agreement on the 11th to settle with us. And
11th of
the 11th of
September,
October,
October.
the 11th of October, we were to settle then. And they failed to the agreement on the settlement until the 28th. And on that settlement on the 11th, they had given us the 30th of September, October to remove, sorry, on October to remove. But they were given, the money was given on the settlement came on the 28th of October. Now, 28th of October, how could we remove on the 30th? Just 2 days or 3 days apart? You had to get money to pay if you're going and rent a place. Look, I had seek a place already because I hadn't money to pay down for the place. The man take back the place. Nobody keeping a house for you. The man take back the place, and I had to get the money before it's now. I acquire somewhere and decide to move out this weekend. And they come and they cut the light yesterday. Jill was in the area. I wasn't here. I got a phone call from them personally. One named Washington. And I called her several times because the Chinese, they came in my yard, dig a big trench behind there. Them and if you got children, my grandchildren, they could drown. They belong all the fruit trees and nobody never come. The president never ever come in Petersall to find out what is going on with these people, how they're feeling. Never ever. He's skipping Petersall and he's going to all them rest of places. Mama guys in.
Unbelievable. I want to shout out Credible Source for providing us with this credible information. I want to shout out the seniors as well that are affected in Peters Hall, and our sympathy goes out with you. At this time, it's touching, and what is really happening to our seniors, the persons that have paved the way for us. With this uncaring government, MP, I don't know, how do you respond to? I know you were on the ground and you were seeing this firsthand, and you were listening to persons that is pouring out their heart. to you, and this is beyond a case where compensation. This is medical. These seniors would need some kind of assistance. This is damaging. This is real damaging. After 60 years, 50 years living, dwelling in an environment, and then it's all taken away from you, and you're being compensated at a minimum cost, and then you're asked to even move within 5 days, which is more harassment and fatiguing. How do we as a nation really and truly, when they use the term one Guyana, and they're talking about this mantra of this one Guyana, I call it the syndromes of the PPP. How do the persons, those seniors, fit into this one Guyana? How can we cope as a nation?
Cope. I think we passed coping stage. People got to act. People got to come out. People got to speak up about these atrocities, human rights violation that the government of Guyana is repeatedly involved in. They don't care about the seniors. In their minds, they probably think, when we finish harassing, they can go on and you don't got to pay the money. And they gone scotch-free. But it can't happen. We have to stand up and speak out for these seniors. I tell you, this thing disturbed me all day yesterday. After I passed and I saw what was happening yesterday morning, I can tell you I'm very upset. I prayed for the seniors, as I always do, because I have seen within the last 2 years, all these seniors have been dealing with them. You can see literally how they have aged rapidly within the last 2 years. It's not easy to live in a house, people driving big truck, tractor, grader, whatever, everything shaking in your home. And the government, again, still does not see it fit to stop and ensure that these seniors are protected. I want to know what is the purpose of Ministry of Human and Social Development. What really is the purpose? Because you have seniors here. We just celebrate Month of the Elderly. Ask them if anybody carry anything to those seniors who were affected. Sit and talk with them. Let them understand that, listen, we have to remove you, but we'll ensure that you're settled. How can it be fair for me to leave my home that I've occupied for over 70 years, over 50 years, to go move into a rent house? And again, there is no guarantee based on the action seen thus far by this government that in the 6 months they will rent, that they will ensure those people have some way to call home again. There's no guarantee. Because if it took 2 years and more, you still couldn't compensate them properly. You still couldn't allocate an area where they already have housing. I was wondering, why is it that it didn't take these people to one of these upscale environment with the building? They have the high income area, because if I have fruit trees and so forth, I should be treated with that respect. And give them a home that is already built, constructed, ensure the yard is fenced, ensure that they can set up back. You got Ministry of Agriculture and all these people. They should have taken responsibility to ensure that, let us go and set up, if it's a garden patch for these people, ensure that the plants are set and laid and so forth. So when you're moving these people, you move them into a place of comfort. At least they could still watch outside and see, I got some fruit trees. I can reap some cash crop. I can still feel a little comfortable. But to move the seniors from their homes and telling them to go and rent. And you hear Miss Vashti explain herself. Sorry, the other part of the video where the health worker wasn't played, that was saying she works with the Ministry of Health doing remedial teaching. And she got to contend with her home being bulldozed, being bullied out of her home. No care, no thought, no support. And mind you, this is the exact same actions taken on the people at Caneview, where you had the 20 children. Ask them how much psychosocial support was given to those children. They carry one day somebody visit and that's it. There's no follow-up. There's no engagement with these children. I see those children are still traumatized. Some of those children don't even want to see police officer. From the time they see somebody look like a police, they run. The same thing, the same effects for the children at Hillfoot. Hillfoot had 47 children that were affected in that graded down. Ask them what they did. The ministry went, so they can give them land. The people had to still find money to go and pay for the land that they're allocated. When you talk with the people, they can't even go on the land yet because now they got to save money to build. But they're already graded down. No psychosocial support. Again, the same thing for the people at Sarah Joanna. Sarah Joanna, look at what they did. Grade down those people home. They like to shout private matter, you know. But it is matter where the state is supervising these breaking down. And therefore, if they're doing that, then they should ensure that all systems are in place to support those families. Sarah Joanna have a whole lot of children. And I keep telling people with Sarah Joanna, right now it's on the brink of having 120 children made homeless. If these people are not allocated lands, an area where they can move with their children and set them up. We have children living at Sarah Joanna in Tarpaulin with their mother, single mothers. You imagine being a single mother with 4 girl children and y'all living to the mercies, nothing to protect you around Tarpaulin. That is the reality on the ground, but there is no support in place to help these people. And those children are really traumatized from just seeing someone looking like a police. Since they look like they got on a police clothes, the children just run. So you imagine you have seniors being affected, nothing is being done, no care in the world. We have a whole lot of children being affected, no care in the world. Nothing is being done. Guyanese have to come out, Guyanese have to speak up, Guyanese have to stand up. You go, somebody come to your area to destroy the home. So everybody should come out because it is unfair. I find it to be totally unfair and uncalled for you to break down these people's homes in their presence. Come on, they're seniors. Remove them, ensure they're safe, ensure they're comfortable, and then you go in and do what you gotta do. But don't do it in front of them, man. It's total trauma. We shouldn't be accepting that. They ain't got no coping mechanism for that, you know. That's violation of human rights. And people will have to act accordingly. We deal with a piggish government, you gotta react in a piggish manner to them too. Because you're not thinking about the needs of the people.
A piggish government indeed. There's so much of demolition that is going on. You highlighted most of them, one in your community as well. How are the persons in Muka Arcadia that were affected? I don't want to forget those persons at all. How are they coping?
They're not coping too well, you know. They're still living.
Were they ever compensated?
The matter is in the court. We're still awaiting court justice. Those people are still living at people's home. Those people are still trying to put the pieces together. There are days that they're very stressed out, but you know, you got to keep talking to them. And I tell you, I communicate with these people all the time. I ensure those persons are able to call me at any time if they're experiencing a down day, a stressful moment, you know, to see what is happening to them. Those people are still living at people. They're still there. They're still awaiting justice from this administration. And if they don't see the need to fix these things, then they have to come out. They have to come out to government. Wrong for Guyana. You cannot make people so uncomfortable and lying about everything that they do. It's sheer lies because the View was graded down because the highway was passing there. Now, if you go there, you're going to see they got homes building in line, even in front of the land space where View was. View is actually 2 canals away from the highway. So, buildings could even go up in front of where View was, and it would be closer to the highway. But because of wickedness, because of the fact that this government recognized that there's African families living there, that's why those View families were graded down. And those people are just living from day to day and trusting that the system will work. Trusting that the system will work.
MP, the vice president said that the opposition spreading propaganda and lies. They're not racist. Are uh, those areas that are affected by the demolition in the name of progress or whatever they call it, whatever they choose to call it, are those areas Afro-Guyanese areas?
At Petersall, most of the homes that are being destroyed there are predominantly people of African descent. There are a few East Indian in between, and they were compensated first, and they were removed. You hear what they did? Compensate those first, and they were removed.
I I
And
I I want you to repeat what you're saying for the sake of the viewers and for Jagio himself to understand what he's really saying. He is claiming that they're not racist. The opposition is peddling lies to Washington and all over. Now there's evidence to support that his cabal, his party is marginalizing Afro-Guyanese. I want you to repeat yourself so the cameras and the viewers could capture this moment.
I will repeat boldly. Petersall, it's predominantly the homes that are being destroyed are predominantly those of African descent. There were few East Indians in there, and they were compensated first and removed. I don't know if you recall when we had the picture showing you where 59 or 57 million was offered to an East Indian owner who had a property. They were not living in the property. Grass was growing on the building, but they got 50 something $million compensation. And it was a whole big thing on the social media. Those persons were removed, taken to fancy homes in Eccles, where they were placed comfortably. Transportation provided for them to move out to. Because they move out early in the morning, like 4:30, 5 a.m. is when these movements took place. So the other residents were not aware that these people are moving. They were not aware. So they leave the Africans there and they want to give them practically next to nothing. That's what they're doing. If you go to Sarah Johanna, Sarah Johanna is a mixed community where the lands are being taken from the people. I can tell you the 7 homes that were broken down in Sarah Johanna, you had at least more than 15 children affected in those 7 homes. All the those of East Indian descent, they were allocated their lands and their homes. Those people are fighting for the others to get, even though those people get the allocation, they're fighting, they're making noise. Why the other people didn't get? Only yesterday, one of them messaged me and say, MP, I'm worried. Because we got land allocation, we will move. Because they're now trying to see what they could put together to move. But what happening to the other people? Because the other people there got 5 and 6 children and not much children in the homes, and they were not allocated any lands. Oh, and mind you, the people in Sarah Johanna, some of them are already paid since 2021. I think they had some building expo where you could go and pay some money. I ain't got my notes because I would give you exact information. Paid down $250,000, $300,000 for land allocation. It is when the 7 homes were broken down, those families were able to get a land allocated to them. The other people who paid still waiting for allocation. So I guess the greater God drive through their homes before this government decide to allocate them lands. And when you listen to those people who ain't catching guano for sell every day to maintain the family, who ain't hustling on the side for do a little work, when they have to pay the money, listen to the people tell you how they have to pool and save up the money to reach this $250,000 or $300,000 to pay for the land allocation. When they pay up to now, they get the land, they tell them, oh, we can give you one area. Now when they go find out, other people, they're going to check the areas. Other people don't occupy the area that was initially supposed to be for them. Other people there. And so you have the whole crisis going on. The other thing, Governor, I want people to know This government is so wicked that they remove people from the CDAM and all over where they say they're moving from specific areas and relocate them to house lots. No light, no water, no running water in the area. I did a video where I went in there at night to do a visit. I couldn't even see my hand in the dark. And to get to the area where they have these people, you're driving in like 3 miles. No houses on both sides of the land for the 3 miles. I'll send you the video so you could put them on your page. No houses. To get behind there, it costs a taxi $2,000 to $3,000 for the people to get a taxi to go because they already got no exceptional great roads. There's no light. There's no water. But they have those people at the back there. When you go and you listen to these people, you imagine children are unable to attend school because they will have to walk at least 6 miles, 3 to go out, and they're not walking out that 3 mile carrying them to go for see the forest house, right? Then they got to go out to the main road to catch a bus to go to school. Then they got to go to school and come back, but they're coming back and they got to walk back in 3 miles. Guess what they're walking into? No light, no water. I brought tears to my eyes to see people have to dig drain. You might last to see people drinking water from in the earth. Just dig a drain, and you know when the water come up, you get your bowl and you dip it out to cook or to bathe or to wash. That's the reality of some Guyanese living at the back in Diamond there. I'm telling you that. I went first hand and viewed it because somebody called and said, MP, you need to come and see how people are living like animals. They dig in a hole to get water. They got to dig, and then they catch the same water to bathe, to cook, to drink, and whatever. Or they got to pay a taxi $2,000 to go and fill a bottle of water to go out. That's the reality on the ground, and this government is trying to give people what impression. I like how they're talking, but they're going to care. We got enough evidence to give. We got enough evidence to share about the inhumane practice of this PPPC government against Guyanese. I have evidence to give, a whole lot, because I go on the ground and I do it. I remember the night when I went into that area. The driver that took me tell me straight up, listen to me, lady, don't carry me in these places again because he more frightened than me. How the place is so dark. But I had to go to see what is it that Guyanese are going through. They will remove people and just relocate them. And you know one of the things, one individual told me in that area, they said they had a man giving water, you know. So people used to go and full water and stuff like that. The guy where people went and sealed the main. That's the reality on the ground. That's the reality.
Unbelievable. I want the vice president and persons in the diaspora, Canada and the diaspora. I want you to understand, my viewers, that we can't make it up. This is not make-up story. This is not storied by the wayside. This is evidence. The MP is on the ground. So when Mr. Jagdeo, the vice president, go in and run and cry to his newfound friend in the White House, he must explain to them and let them know what's the real reality on the ground. Don't carry a fairy tale story about the friends, family, and favorites. You have to be fair when you're running and cry to the US President-elect Donald Trump, your newfound friend. MP, there's so much is happening here, there, and everywhere. It seems as though if we stick on this, it will take up the whole hour. Because I noticed, comrade Ruben is her name. There was some shop that was being, the lady was with her child too, and it's just not.
At Colgin on the East Coast. Colgin on the East Coast.
Correct is right. I was following that, and it's distasteful. But let's move on. Let's catch a breath and move on. We're speaking with MP Nima Flue-Bess, Shadow Minister of Sports, Youth and Culture, if it's still that, if it's
It's
that is
sport.
called. MP, in sports, how is our youth? What is happening in sports? What's happening in your ministry? Give us a quick walkthrough, a detailed walkthrough of what is happening in your ministry and how you're dealing with Charles Lil Boy Ramson.
That would take a whole show too, and more. So I'll try to put it in
A nutshell.
a kind of a nutshell. I think it could fit in a nutshell, but I can try. The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. Um, Words I can use, very interesting, very distasteful, a lot of disrespect, a lot of tales from the crypts. I think that will bring out some of the things that I want to highlight. In the budget this year, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture Ministry had allocated over $1 billion. Most of which was going to be spent on buildings and furniture and the different programs that they had listed. I will share with you, I can give you so you could put on your page. I've been following the projects that were listed for 2024 and what really is happening. And there isn't much to report there, I can tell you that. And when we talk about culture, we see what is happening. When we had emancipation, we see how the government tried to dominate and sit down on the celebrations of the Africans. We just observed Indigenous Peoples Month celebration. We see that they kept their distance and allowed them to celebrate how they ought to. We see all the other celebrations that takes place. The other ethnic group are allowed to celebrate without any interference on their program. So there again, we can highlight a point where they're talking about they're not racist, but their actions speaks differently. When we come to support of our artists in the industry, during the budget presentation, the minister said there was going to be a music studio established for the musicians, and he said, I have those recordings because I'm going to bring them at the right time to remind people that there was a music studio in Georgetown at the Ministry of Labor building on Brigham, where the instrument locked up in a room, according to what I understand. It's not being used, but this studio that they were supposed to build is supposed to be built in Port Morant. So I'm supposed to be there shortly to examine this studio, this state-of-the-art studio that was budgeted for in the 2024 budget. And there were supposed to be some establishments of special parks and all these things. Monies were passed. So I will go check on some of these projects and get some pictures and videos and so forth to highlight and to show this nation that monies are allocated, but you don't see any work for it. When we talk about culture, I must bring this in. We have a lot of heritage sites in Guyana. And I always recall the most embarrassing experience where I visited up the river, where we were doing this parliamentary outreach with Caribbean parliamentarians and so forth, the CPU. And while we were walking, one of the individuals said, how are you supposed to read this information? They didn't talk to me directly, but they were talking to another comrade. And I look up, and I look up when the lady spoke, and then I watched, and then I realized that there was so much green moss and muck on the signboard at the venue. It's no wonder that question was asked. And I'm thinking to myself, we know a little bleach, a little soap powder, a nice piece of cloth and a ladder. Somebody jump up there every week or every month and wipe and clean down those things. You wouldn't have thick mass and muck and all these things, grass and so growing on these things, signage. It will be cleaned. So we got money allocated, but we ain't seeing value for the money because these signboards, labels, all these things are part of our cultural heritage. You have these heritage sites for people to visit, not for people to just turn up and walk through. They want to read. There are people who go in there who can read, who can spell for themselves, so they would want to see. You don't see that. So I don't know where the money is going. What are we really doing to preserve and to protect our heritage? What monies are really being given to our artists who do their drawings and paintings and their craft work? It's everything is being marginalized and things happening, in a haphazard way. How much money is actually being spent at the Borough School of Arts to ensure that our students are able to get adequate materials to do their work? What is happening at the dance school? I know the dance program was always a vibrant program. You all recognize now when they welcome home party or anything they have is the same set of items, the same set of people we seeing. It means therefore that these areas are not being used. Opportunities are not provided. I spoke in the parliament at length on the programs that were cancelled under the PPPC government, all them dance programs. The elderly used to get a free dance show in Christmas at the culture center. That stopped since the PPPC government go in. The children used to have dance show because once you're doing theater arts and drama for CSEC, these children are to put on shows. And it used to be done at the cultural center where you can go, sit and enjoy. That's not happening now. All of that stopped. So our culture, what is really happening there? There's nothing much happening to preserve, to protect, to enhance, to promote our culture, but rather we see differently. When it comes to sports, we see all the hype, the vibes, everything. When it comes to cricket, they give out free tickets for cricket when they don't have enough people to fill up the stadium. But when you go to the venues, it's a different story. Toilet ain't working, influshable. The urinals, they're broken. But we got money allocated in the budget. So ministry, the National Sports Commission is supposed to ensure that these places are well kept, up to date. You're entertaining foreigners. Is it only the VIP section that we spend monies on to look important? No. We're supposed to maintain, our athletes supposed to enjoy all the nice things. Our Guyanese, our spectators, our patrons, when they go to event, they ought to enjoy the same services like the VIP. Nice clean toilet, nice sitting accommodation. We're not seeing that. You go to the stadium, Lenora Stadium, still embarrassed again. I can speak of so many embarrassing moments because I travel a lot when it comes to sports. I'm very, very much involved in sports. You go to the stadium the last time, the big international competition, and the muck on the thing thick, this high cover your boots. They couldn't take a power wash and wash down the stadium, ensure it is clean, ensure things happen. We see a bias when it comes to sports because you're not seeing the interest in the same in the other sports. We had only the other day the powerlifting competition from the Caribbean held at the Cultural Center. That was not promoted. Why is it that free tickets and invitations weren't given to students across this country or persons who are into powerlifting, who like the weightlifting activity? Why is it they weren't given free tickets? Why is it that more Guyanese were not invited to take part in these events? We just had a cycling championship last weekend on the Heroes Highway that caused a whole lot of things in terms of people arguing. We see a bias again. These competitions come into the country. You know how long I saw the post is up and out. But you don't put out no notice. You're not encouraging the Guyanese to come out, support. But the only thing you're finding encouragement for is cricket. So these are some of the things that we are dealing with. I know in the national budget, there were monies allocated for ground enhancement program. I've been traveling this country and taking out pictures of these ground with a set of weed in and left. Chop, you know the famous term lap and chop. There's a lot of grounds getting lap, chop, and next go back a couple morning, all the grass up. Nothing is happening. There's a lot of unused grounds in some of the communities with it trying to keep up to date. People don't go to them grounds. People don't feel safe. because you don't no proper lighting in the area that if you want to go and exercise in the night, like you want to go and walk, you want to go and jog at the ground, there's no lighting in the area. Providence got ground, just a white, they're just there. When the gate open, them cows is going to eat. And that's about it. You pass at Echoes, they got nice stand and so forth, nothing. Somebody's asking about athletics for sports where you don't know. They don't change and now they're going to April, in the middle of CXC, and where people prepare for exams. So that's a whole other story again. So we as a nation, when it comes to ministry, youth, sports, and culture, like I said, tales from the crypts. There's a lot that is going on, and we've been embarrassed on several occasions with these competitions that are being held. One of the things I want to bring up before I close this nutshell on ministry, youth, sports, and culture. Our athletes went to Carifta Games. I wonder why the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, they don't post nothing direct, you know. They chose through newsroom, I think it is. They've shared the article. They share when the athletes competing, when the athletes on the thing and so forth. So what happened to the accommodation? Why we didn't see pictures to show us, hey, our athletes were well cared for. They had, you know, nice place to sleep, and they were comfortable. They had good meals to eat. I can tell you, you know why they didn't post it? Because they got nothing to share. I'm waiting. I've been looking. I follow the page, Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture page. Most time they put up ads that they got vacancy a different place. They put up the minister when he's ready to go and take out his photos, you know, and pose up and make his videos and look royally important. But the people who are the driving force behind the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, that's our youths, our athletes. We're not seeing that. I follow all the pages of our Caribbean neighbors to see how they use their Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture page. Those people promote every possible thing. If they got a little football meet in a community, they got a little cricket game, whatever, a little dance competition, you see them put it out, but our page is not being used for that. And that's the platform for it. When it comes to youth, man, all the money that they got here for youth, most of it is supposed to be spent on buildings. So when you visit these facilities and you find out what is happening on the ground with our youths and the programs, they got a youth program over time, Sophia there, where the children are able to acquire competency within a year. That was changed to 6 months and 4 months. This wild up thing, you know? And at the end of it, these young people wouldn't get the required experience and competence to be good mechanics, good electrician, good mason, because you shove in a 1 year program in 6 months or 4 months and expect these children to graduate. And all that is doing is to say that, oh, we're running these programs. I've spoken severally on the fact that every program that is being run, Guyana got the institution. If you're doing a cooking program, we got Carnegie School of Home Economics. Let them certify. So when the people finish, you know, you get a paper that is official from Carnegie. Even though the program was run by Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, they can go and look a job. You're giving me a cardboard with saying that I graduated and I can't even get a job with the cardboard. What's the sense? We need to do more for our young people. We need to do more for our athletes in this nation. All them tracks that incomplete for years. We're looking at the sports hall, was still incomplete. A whole set of rubbish in the yard. We're looking at the gymnasium, that is the parking lot. For them old trucks for Ramson, them got parked up in the yard. Take over the circle tennis court, and I know when they're going to move out. I was asking if these trucks actually belongs to the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, because if it's assets of the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, we got to make use of it, bring in some more money. And it's not just park up in the compound and taking up all the space that is needed for our youths to play. So that's it. That's it in a nutshell.
Whoa. That's it in a nutshell. In a nutshell. One people, one nation, one destiny. That's our motto. Recently, you had made a post in connection with our youths going to represent Guyana and wearing one Guyana on their shirt sleeve. Is it incompetence from the Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture, or is just he don't care?
Those people don't care. They want to use the One Guyana mantra on everything, which is a blight to this nation, because One Guyana does not include every Guyanese. One Guyana means one set of people affiliated to the PPPC government. They will get the contracts, they will get all the monies, they get all the privilege, they get all the opportunity. You stressing out our athletes when they're going out for chop. One Guyana, what? Many of those athletes got to train on their own. They got to find their own passage to go to training. You have to find your own passage to get your coach. If you get sick, you don't have no free medical service to get, because, yeah, you're going to go to Georgetown Hospital and spend hours sit down waiting to be served. Nothing special is there. So we're telling people about One Guyana. And then I saw one of the social commentators was trying to explain that it's just a thing being said at the game with all three Guyanas come together. Hell no. One GYAN. If it was that is different, but you put in One Guyana. I check all the uniforms, because when the person put up the comment, I laugh. I didn't respond to them yet. I check Suriname uniform. I don't see nothing like One Guyana on it. Suriname got a flag and the country name whatever. I check French, the same thing. The only team that got one GUYANA on the uniform is the team that came out of Guyana, where our national motto is one people, one nation, one destiny. So all them things and excuses what they're trying to give me can't work. If we talk about One Guyana people homes are being graded down. One Guyana, it's a whole pack of lies going through. One Guyana, the foreigners coming in here, like just after I was talking to a comrade, there's a whole set of foreigners living in Diamond. They're getting free water, free electricity, and they're living there for free. Guyanese got to go and pay for water. They got to pay for electricity. I hear nobody saying nothing. One Guyana, the sure they want. One Guyana is not a team to use. People should avoid saying those words. We are one people, one nation, with one destiny. One Guyana mantra means that they're going to kill out a set of people and bring in a set of people. That's all. It means nothing else. It ain't got no value for the average Guyanese. It got value for the PPP people and the ministers. Them is One Guyana. They getting everything. They enjoying all the free taxes. They enjoying all the free things. They got to money. That's their One Guyana. One Guyana, it doesn't include all Guyanese. We are one people, one nation with one destiny. We have to tell our children that's our national motto. We should not be thinking or even using that term, because we know that the actions of this PPPC government and their One Guyana mantra speaks to marginalization, dictatorship, and all the things that goes with it.
Nima Flue-Bess, Member of Parliament and a teacher by profession. Someone just messaged me and tell me to shout out their teacher from St. Joseph. I'll tell you who the person is behind the scenes. MP, before we close the curtains, I recently noticed a joint statement from the opposition, and there were protests outside of GCOM that was intensified on Tuesday. And I was in Guyana, and I know you were always on the ground, when you can, you were out there in the protest line and demanding a clean voters list and biometrics. Talk to us about some of the claims of the opposition and what are some of the things you guys are trying to achieve, that being out there every Tuesday, and how can you encourage the public to join, to how important it is to have a clean voters list and biometrics.
I want to say to the populace, when you talk about rallying for a cause, you need to join the call for a clean voters list and the use of biometrics in Guyana. We've seen what was unearthed from the 2020 elections, where we had a lot of dead voters, people who were dead, but they vote. We need to get those dead people off the list. We've seen people voting and they're not even in Guyana because somebody impersonates them. These are real issues. We need to understand that voting is important because it decides what happens to you as an individual. It decides what happens to your family. It decides what happens to the future of this country. We see the kind of government we got right now. Do you think we want to continue down this line? No. So we have to all come out. We all have to come out and call for this change to be effective. I've shared, and several shares have been made with the video where the VP, I don't like calling them people's name, the VP was calling for a clean voters list and biometrics when they lost the elections. The same apply. If that happens, we can look at having credible elections. We can look at having a credible process taking place, which will benefit all of Guyana. It's not just one person will benefit, all of Guyana will benefit. I want people to understand one vote has great value. So we have to ensure that we're out there making this call, that when elections come, we can be confident that we won't have to deal with dead voters, voting, impersonation taking place. We can be confident that we got to wait till how long to get our results. We can be confident that when you go to vote, the right person is making the votes with the biometrics and so forth. It is absolutely necessary. And so we will continue to call. I want to encourage people to come out and join the call. You can start the call from home. Come on, we got to do more. We can do more to ensure that this takes place, which will benefit all of Guyana. Not just one people. All of Guyana will benefit. And so it is very, very important.
Very, very important indeed. MP, before I let you go, I want to give you the last words. I know your party and your leader has outlined a number of things that they're going to do once in office, when in office, so to speak. The People-Centered Development Program, a list of the oil strategies and that kind of stuff. MP, before you go, I want to give you the last words and your encouragement to persons, as well as getting prepared for elections and that kind of stuff. Your closing remarks.
I want to say to viewers, it is time that we all wake up and be in the fight for saving Guyana and ensuring that all Guyanese can live comfortably. I can let you know that we will ensure that all Guyanese will benefit. All Guyanese will benefit from our actions. You see that we're all about people. So our people-centered vision, it's there, fighting for a livable wage, ensuring that we have the rent-to-own home scheme so that persons can pay the rent and eventually own the homes. We have so many plans for our people. Our young people can look forward to empowerment, that they're able to stand after given opportunities and make an impact and a difference in the lives of people. I want to say for all of Guyana, we vote in the coalition. For Guyana to grow, the PPPC must go. And that will happen at the next regional and general elections. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and it was truly a privilege to be here and share with you this afternoon.
MP, it was indeed a privilege of you being here and educating our folks. I know the diaspora and a lot of persons are more informed, and they will make informed decisions come election. MP Nima Flue-Bess, Member of Parliament, it was nice having you here. Here's where we take our leave. Don't be a stranger. Have a blessed and a wonderful day, my people. Love you all.